Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Amoeba bait, and I'm back again with a headset this time instead of using the shitty inbuilt microphone on my computer. So hopefully this video sounds a lot better. This isn't going to be an image-heavy or video-heavy video, ironically at all. It's just going to be me talking about stuff, namely the Gamergate issue that is currently going on Twitter at the moment. So open up a new tab, put on a whatever, and just listen to me crap on about video games and why you should care about them even if you just play them in passing. So I'm going to start off just by giving a brief background on the whole Gamergate issue. So Gamergate is essentially a not a parody, but a take on the Watergate scandal, and it is in relation to journalism in the video games industry. Now, this arose when a game developer's ex-boyfriend came out with the information that she had cheated on him with allegedly 5 people and had romantic and sexual relationships with them in order to promote her upcoming game. Now, the people that she was involved with all had their thumbs in the plum pudding that is journalism and the journalism industry, and as a result, her game got a very, very favourable review, and it basically made it successfully greenlit on Steam. Now, it is worth mentioning that the game was up for free, I believe, to download. But the issue arises when this individual is sort of living off money that is donated to her through her Patreon account, which goes directly into her personal bank account. And the problems also exist when not false allegations, but overblown reactions to alleged, like apparent death threats to her coincide with links to her own Patreon account, or other people who she is involved with strongly suggesting that people donate money to her. Yeah, so the whole issue is involved in corruption. Now, I have been talking about this individual throughout this entire video up to this point, and I haven't named her purely because it doesn't matter who it is, and it doesn't matter whether she's a man or a woman or identifies as whatever. It doesn't matter who they are, because end of the day, what they're doing is wrong, and that is corruption. Like they're engaging in corruption. They are using their body for a service to influence the way that their product is marketed. This sends a message to the consumer which is incorrect, which is not completely factual, and for coming from an Australian perspective, video game journalism is a very important thing over here, because in America a game on release comes out and I believe it's about $60, whereas a game coming out new is anywhere between $90 to $120, and that's a lot of money for a game, for a single game. That is a ton of money. I wanted to get Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, and the collector's edition was $200 to pre-order. That is an obscene amount of money for a video game. So I think that highlights the very important nature of video games journalism from an Australian perspective, because as a consumer, you want to make an informed decision before purchasing a product. You want to watch the gameplay footage if it's available. You want to read reviews from reviewers. You want to get a picture of what you're going to purchase before you commit your hard-earned dollars on this product. Now, it does not just stop at this one person, um, and it's kind of ironic that I said I'm not going to name who they are, but I have in front of you right now this web, I guess, of corruption, and I think this image is important to be shown because it shows how deep the issue goes. And this image was made around about 2 to 3 weeks ago, and this is not including some newer information which has been released. So as you can see, the corruption runs deep. Everyone is in everyone else's pocket, if not in bed with them. And this issue wouldn't be as big as it is now. The whole Gamergate issue is not would not have been as big as it is now. It's been going on for about a month now with no sign of slowing down or stopping, rather, because when confronted with the criticism from the consumers, when the gamers go to the game reviewers and say, "Please do not be corrupt," the response isn't, "We're sorry, we won't do it again," or "We're sorry, we are going to punish the people involved who have discredited our organization," being the various game reviewing sites, but it was to censor or harass or marginalize the people who were speaking up. This sort of resulted in a big pushback from the SJWs, or the social justice warriors, behind the anti-Gamergate side, the opposing side to the side I sit on. And like, they were trying to set out to kill gamers, like, not literally, but to kill gaming culture and kill who gamers are, because in various tweets and articles from them, they perceive all gamers as straight, cis, heterosexual, white males, and that's every single gamer. That's every gamer at that is out. And that's a huge generalization, and I think it's strange that a social justice warrior who is, fighting for equality, fighting for better representation, is generalizing and ignoring minorities. And this sort of started up the hashtag #NotYourShield, which was basically a bunch of minorities, a bunch of women, people of color, transgender people, all just the varied people, and people who play video games saying, we play video games, we're gamers, please do not hide behind us, please do not use us as a shield, defending you, essentially ruining the gaming industry, because you believe that it's one type of person. So that's hashtag #NotYourShield, and it just goes to show I think I'm struggling to get my head around it, because it's so strange that these social justice warriors who are fighting, I guess, for equality and for equal representation and all that kind of stuff, which is good, like, it's good to have that kind of thing. They're calling people like fat virgins and that kind of crap. Like, it's real, childhood playground type shit. It's really unprofessional. And this is coming from people who are paid to write articles. They are being paid as journalists, the same way that the people who write the fucking Canberra Times are being paid to write articles about whatever's going on in the city. So it's so odd that these people, these supposed, and I'm using finger quotes here, journalists, can get away with essentially bigotry. I think it's disgusting. I don't stand for it at all. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. Furthermore, because all these journalists are in each other's pockets, they all sort of release similar articles all at the same time. About 2 weeks ago, or maybe it was 3 weeks ago, I believe it was five websites all released articles on the same day, some within hours of each other, about how being a gamer is a bad thing, and literally gamer shaming gamers, saying that they're bad people purely because they indulge in video games. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That's almost as if saying if you read books, you're a bad person because books have internalized misogyny. And like, I don't know, like it's so strange to decry and call out and ridicule and shame an entire culture, finger quotes, of people just because they share a hobby. It's mind-blowing. Not only that, but there are further issues, of course, that the journalists don't even know what they are. Sometimes they will refer to themselves as bloggers, meaning that their opinions are just opinions. However, sometimes they will refer to themselves as journalists, meaning that there is some form of implied journalistic integrity when writing an article. An example of this being flat out stating if you are romantically or financially involved with someone you are writing a review on, namely game developers, because there's this thing called conflict of interest, which these journalists don't seem to understand. The issue further gets worse because whenever you call them out on this, whenever you say what you're doing is wrong, what you're doing is immoral in cases where they have doxed or like stolen, personal information on people, namely a 10-year-old boy, doxing a 10-year-old boy and sending him death threats. These are adults. These are fucking adults who are giving death threats to a 10-year-old boy. That is the kind of shit that happens not in our culture. I don't want to be. I'm not trying to be racist. I'm not. That's not what I'm trying to put across. But in a country like Australia, that shit does not fly, and it's very, very, very wrong. Continuing on with his death threats, while I'm on the topic, the individual who was the instigator, I guess you could say, the straw that broke the camel's back, complaining about all the death threats she was receiving, and then stating on her Twitter that she was forced out of her home because she didn't feel safe, and she's contacted the police and all this kind of stuff. Recently, as in last week, it was proven that a report was never even made. Claims were like, she never called the police. If you are receiving death threats, you call the fucking police. And the police will tell you, do not publicize the fact that you've been given death threats. Like, we've had people come out and say that they have filed complaints to the police having received death threats, and that is the first thing that they will say. So that's insincere, that's silly, that is being a professional victim, and then there have been instances in which other prominent social justice warriors will complain that they have been receiving death threats, and then, ooh, what's that? The very next tweet that you make is, if you want to show support, here's the way to donate money. Seems as if you've got an agenda going on there. Yes. So that shit does not fly with me either. I think that's pretty terrible. Moving on to the sort of last little bit on what's going wrong, or what the other side, quotation marks, is doing, which is wrong, is censorship. Namely, censorship of criticism. When people started to complain that what they were doing was wrong, and was insincere and was bad and all that kind of stuff, just complaining that this isn't right, this is not how you should do things. If you're writing an article on someone that you have had sex with for a benefit, you should probably let your audience know up front, or not write the fucking article in the first place. When people have been saying something like that, they have been deleted. Their comments have been deleted from places like Reddit, where moderators have been in cahoots with these prominent figures. There's obviously been backlash and name calling, preschool tier name calling, as well as the banning of people for no other reason than they support what you don't agree with. People are being put on enormous block lists of thousands and thousands of people on Twitter. On Reddit recently, I think this went up either today or last night. In Australian time, it's difficult because it's in America and I'm not very good with maths. Someone had their account shadow banned from Reddit purely for upvoting, giving a thumbs up or a like or whatever the other equivalent is, for liking pro gamergate material that is posted on Reddit. And I made a tweet earlier on that it is so strange that 4chan, which is, widely perceived as the most, terrible, worst site on the internet, it is actually the most open and most democratic website out of all of them involved. You don't have to worry about being blocked for expressing your opinion. And this is the same for not only Reddit in certain instances, but also NeoGAF, who blocks people, or the admins will block people if they disagree with their opinion. It is literally a case of stop liking the things I don't like. So, we're moving into the realm of George Orwell's 1984, where if you disagree with an idea, you are banned, you are outed, you are kicked out of a group, a website, a forum, an image board, or whatever, where you are supposed to be able to express your ideas and your opinions freely, without fear of censorship, because that's fucking bad and immoral. Fuck me, what's next? What is next? What will be the next step for these social justice warriors fighting for equality, fighting for justice, when they won't even let people voice their opinions or voice their complaints on unjust practice? Now, this isn't all bad. There has been a lot of positive change which the Gamergate movement has prompted, has started. The Fine Young Capitalists put up an Indiegogo project, like a Kickstarter, which basically gets women into the game industry. Women who have ideas for games but no means to make them themselves. They will provide an idea. The most popular idea, or the most popular couple of ideas, will be made into a video game, and then the woman in question, or the woman who came up with the idea, will get 7% of the profits, because apparently that is the cut that like a movie screenwriter or whatever, or whoever comes up with the idea for a film, will get. So that is fine. And we have social justice warriors saying that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing that we're getting. Oh, women in video games is terrible. That is definitely not in the interests of equal representation. That's bullshit. But 4chan, as well as Reddit and a bunch of other unaffiliated donators, successfully funded the Indiegogo project last week, which was a very, very positive thing for two reasons. One, because it's helping get equal representation in video games, and two, because the largest group of contributors was 4chan, was the board, the video games board on 4chan. That group of people raised most of the money themselves, and this is coming from a place which has been called the Cathedral of Misogyny. Yes, only a true woman hater would donate their own money to further the movement of getting women into video games. That seems exactly like the kind of thing someone who hates women will do. So it has the twofold effect of getting the project funded and underway, but it also flips the tables, flips the perception, and changes the paradigm of the way that people view internet communities. Places like Reddit are being exposed for having corrupt moderators, corrupt admins or janitors or whatever you want to call them, whereas places like 4chan, which is viewed as a terrible place to go, a terrible place, the cathedral of misogyny, is being shown as one of the last bastions of free speech, or something less dramatic than I just put it. So where do we go from here? Well, the way I see it is that Gamergate is sort of splitting up, and we're all sort of pursuing our own goals, be that to end the violence or the hate speech against gamers, which that's a good thing, but I disagree with that being the goal of Gamergate. And I'll say it here now. My perception of Gamergate, I've been tweeting about it for a while, like since it started. It is the pursuit of transparency in journalism. It is about rooting out all the corruption in journalism, and that's it. That is all we're about. This is the movement for transparency in journalism. It does not matter if we get called bigots or all cis white virgin basement dwelling neckbeard males, because that's just telling me more about the people flinging these like fucking childish insults than it does about the demographic of people who play video games. It's not about that, even though people will definitely, and naturally want to defend their own self-image. It's purely about journalism, and purely about getting transparency, and purely about essentially just making video games and bringing them up to the same level of, say, film or television, which we've been doing in leaps and bounds, or the game industry has been doing in leaps and bounds in terms of content. Games like The Last of Us is viewed as a fantastic game because of its great story and its characters and its cutscenes and stuff. Like, it's an okay game, but a game like that really progresses the video game industry into the realm of cinema, in that it's being taken as seriously as cinema or film or TV or whatever. What we now need to do is bring in everything else with the games. The journalists that review and critique the games. This is what we need to be focusing on. And basically, the main way we can do that at the moment is talking to companies that advertise on websites with these corrupt, shitty bloggers or journalists putting out hate articles and that kind of crap. These SJWs aren't going to listen to us because we're all misogynists, and we all have internalized misogyny, and we're all terrible people. We are worse than ISIS. That's a comment that's been thrown. We're worse than ISIS. That's interesting. But the way we get them to listen is we make them listen through their wallets, because that is proven the only way that they will pay attention to anything. They're very, very money oriented. So what we do is we email the companies that advertise through these websites and explain what's going on, and explain that the website that they are advertising on does not reflect the values that the company itself would promote, it would hold near and dear to its heart. So that's the way we do it. We email, we explain the situation, calm and civil. We ignore fucking childish insults, and we get results. I've seen so far 2 companies withdraw advertising from websites, and that's a step in the right direction. That's good, and we have evidence of the popularity of these corrupt websites plummeting, going down, as well as the use of Adblock Pro to prevent ad revenue going to websites if you do need to view their articles, or just simply not going there at all, robbing them of their clicks, which is which is the way they generate their income. So I've rattled on for a long time about this. It's a very, very important issue if you are into video games. So I would strongly recommend you get on Twitter and have a look at the Gamergate feed, the hashtag Gamergate feed. Have a look at the links I'm going to put in the info bar. This will provide you with a wealth of information on the topic. It will provide you with information that I've either forgotten or explained poorly, as well as, I think most importantly, the email addresses of the involved companies. So that's a way to contact them. My name is the Amoeba Bait. Thank you very much for listening to my ramblings. And if you like video games, it's time to take action and stop this corruption.